The marble floors of the Alverton Plaza sparkled under the golden glow of the crystal chandeliers. Everything about that building reeked of power, prestige, and untouchable wealth. But in the center of all that grandeur, a woman in faded overalls, rubber gloves, and weary eyes knelt silently with a mop and bucket, scrubbing away footprints left behind by those who'd never notice her. She was invisible, as if the shine of the floor was meant to blind people to her presence. That morning, as she wrung out the mop with tired hands, her life was about to collide with a storm she had long prepared for, but in a way no one could have imagined. Before we dive deep into this emotional journey of arrogance, hidden truths, and unexpected revelations, if you believe in the power of kindness, second chances, and judging people by their hearts and not appearances, then please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, leave a comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps keep these powerful stories alive. Adrian Langford was born with everything, except humility. As the only son of Richard Langford, the man who built Alverton Plaza and half the skyline surrounding it, Adrian walked through life like the world owed him applause. He was handsome, sharp-jawed, and draped in tailored suits that cost more than most people made in a month. But behind that confident smile was a spoiled arrogance, one that believed money not only bought power, but also dictated worth. To him, people like the cleaning lady weren't people at all. They were background noise. Tools. Fixtures of service. Nothing more. That morning, Adrian was striding through the main hall, laughing loudly with two of his college friends turned junior partners in the family firm. He had just returned from a luxury getaway in Monaco and was full of stories that all sounded like bragging rights. His leather shoes tapped rhythmically on the floor until he suddenly stopped in front of the woman scrubbing the edge of the stairs. She had unknowingly placed her gray bucket a little too close to his path. He didn't stop. He didn't warn her. He didn't even raise his voice like a decent person. Instead, with a smirk playing at the corner of his lips, Adrian cocked his leg and kicked the bucket, sending a wave of cold soapy water splashing onto the woman's legs and chest. She gasped and stumbled back, gripping her broom like a lifeline. The water soaked through her clothes, dripping down her cheeks as she tried to blink away the sting of shame. Adrian chuckled, looked at his friends, and said the words that would be remembered long after the soap dried, "You're filthier than the floor you clean." The hall echoed with laughter. Even the receptionist at the far desk turned away, pretending not to see. The woman didn't say a word. She simply looked down, her jaw tight, eyes unreadable. But deep within those eyes was a storm Adrian couldn't possibly predict. Her name was Elena Morales. Once, she'd been someone people stood for when she entered a room. A quiet woman of dignity, grace, and sharp intellect, Elena had been a rising star in a global real estate firm in Madrid. She held degrees in architecture and finance, was known for transforming rundown neighborhoods into thriving communities. But a car accident changed everything. Her husband died instantly. She survived, with injuries, grief, and a young daughter to raise. She had sold everything to pay the medical bills, fled the headlines, and come to the US with only a suitcase, a resume no one cared about, and a child she'd protect at all costs. The job as a cleaner wasn't a step down, it was survival. For weeks, Adrian continued mocking her in passing, never once bothering to ask her name. She was just the maid in his eyes, and every encounter seemed like a new opportunity to assert his perceived superiority. But unknown to him, she wasn't the only one watching. In a corner office that overlooked the plaza stood a man who had seen Adrian's behavior escalate too far. His name was Charles Everett, CEO of a massive investment group that had just partnered with the Langford firm. Charles was quiet but observant. And more importantly, Elena Morales had once mentored his sister back in Spain. He recognized her instantly, the very first time she entered the building. But he waited. He watched. And he took notes. The breaking point came one rainy afternoon. Elena had just finished wiping down the upper floor lobby when Adrian walked past her again, coffee in one hand, ego in the other. He bumped her deliberately, spilling the hot drink on her already worn uniform. Without so much as an apology, he scoffed, "You should be grateful I'm not charging you for ruining my suit." That moment broke something in Elena, not her pride, but her silence. She looked him square in the eyes and whispered, "You have no idea who I am." Adrian laughed and waved her off. But the next morning, everything changed. Langford Tower's top floor was buzzing with tension. Charles Everett had called an emergency board meeting. Adrian, still smug from the day before, strolled in casually. But his smirk vanished when Charles stood up and handed him a sealed envelope. Inside was a detailed report of every interaction Adrian had with building staff, especially Elena. The boardroom fell silent as Charles clicked a button, and the big screen behind him lit up with a PowerPoint slide, Elena Morales, architect, economist, and urban development visionary. Adrian blinked. His friends gasped. Slide after slide showed Elena's achievements, awards, news features, and transformation projects across Europe and Latin America. It was followed by a letter she had written 5 years ago to Charles's sister, encouraging her to pursue engineering when no one believed in her. The board was speechless. Then came the twist. Charles looked Adrian dead in the eye and said, "This woman isn't just a cleaner. She's the new head of our International Community Development Wing. Effective immediately." Gasps spread across the table. Adrian looked as if the ground beneath him had vanished. Charles wasn't done. "You'll be reporting to her for the next 6 months. And if she feels you've learned anything about respect, humility, or leadership, then, and only then, will your promotion be reconsidered." Adrian stammered, furious, humiliated. But he had no choice. Those next 6 months were the hardest of Adrian's life. Every day, he shadowed Elena. Not as her boss, but as her assistant. He carried boxes, fetched coffee, attended meetings where no one deferred to his last name. At first, he resisted. But slowly, cracks began to form in his pride. He saw Elena not as a cleaner, but as a woman who had risen from ashes more than once. He learned about her daughter, about the long nights and double shifts. He saw the way she treated everyone with kindness, even those who didn't deserve it. He began to change. By the end of those 6 months, Adrian had stopped wearing his expensive watches. He'd started listening more than talking. And in a quiet moment at a rooftop charity event, he walked up to Elena with trembling hands and said, "I'm sorry, for everything. I thought money made me better. I was so wrong." She didn't say anything at first. She simply nodded, eyes glassy. "You're learning. That's what matters." That night, Adrian donated $1 million to a new project Elena had designed, housing for single parents escaping homelessness. And for the first time, he felt whole. If this story touched your heart, made you reflect, or reminded you that everyone has a story worth hearing, then please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who might need to believe in second chances again. Speech balloon comment below, what would you have done if you were in Elena's shoes? We read every story and heartfelt response.